And they count, they say they count everybody, but
well, those are when they do those, and that's how they know that it's somewhere around that 40 million when they had the census.
Yeah.
They don't have if that census lets you know how many people in your house. Well, I got 10 people. Well, you got 10 people in the house, and so
see, they would not participate in that, but the Democrats have made it so understandable to them,
yes,
that they're valuable whether or not they,
absolutely
but
they
they're
are
more
because they're going to send more. They're going to
participate.
send more government assistance
That's right.
to that area.
Exactly right.
To provide for those illegals.
Well, let's see what our next caller has to say. And good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm here
Who
at
is
the
this
Ramada
right
Annual
here?
Lansing.
Oh,
This
it's
is
the
Janice
mayor.
Daniels. And I wanted to start by saying Hillary lied and 4 Americans died.
Exactly right.
Yes,
I thought that Mike from Ann Arbor was spot on. In
Yes.
fact, today here, this seminar is actually devoted to learning the campaign tool skills that we need in order to defeat the establishment Republicans as well as the Democrat Party,
Yes.
if you will. Sounds like I need to bring back my Hillary Chronicles
There you
feature
go.
of our show.
There you
I think I
go.
need to do that. But I would encourage anybody that's within the listening audience, if they can, get in the car, come to Lansing. Actually, first go to my website, janicedaniels.com. You'll find a link to the address and the flyer and a lot of information. But we have here with us today the featured speaker. His name is Richard Viguerie, and he gave us a little taste of what he was going to speak about last night at dinner, and he's a fascinating gentleman. I want you to say hi to him. Phil Dell, this is Richard Viguerie.
Hey, good morning,
Good
Richard.
morning.
How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. Good to be here.
All right. Well, so you're speaking tonight. Tell our audience, if you don't mind, some of the things that you're going to talk about this morning over at that conference where you're going to do some strategizing.
Let me just kind of introduce myself to the audience.
Okay.
The audience and say that I jokingly refer to myself as 003.
All right.
Which means I've been active at the at the national level of the conservative movement longer than every living conservative except 2 others. Dr. Lee Edwards at the Heritage Foundation, 002, and 001 is the grand lady of the conservative movement, Phyllis Schlafly.
Oh,
And
yes.
so I was fortunate many years ago to pioneer political ideological direct mail and help conservatives go around the blockage that they had on national mainstream media. We couldn't get our message through the blockage of NBC, ABC, CBS, New York Times, etc. Starting with direct mail and then with cable television, now talk radio and the internet. Conservatives have a way of communicating with Americans that we didn't have, 30, 40, 50 years ago. The message I want to bring here today is basically revolves around a book I wrote a few years ago called Takeover. And Takeover deals with what I consider the most important political battle in America. And that is not between Republicans and Democrats, but it's inside the Republican Party. It's a 103-year-old war, started in 1912, when Teddy Roosevelt split the Republican Party vote by running for president as a third party and allowed Woodrow Wilson and the Progressive Democrat to be elected president with less than 42% of the vote. So conservatives have been battling that progressive big government establishment wing of the party ever since. And that's the most important political battle in America today. Unfortunately, the progressives have been winning a lot more than the conservatives have.
Yes. So, what time is that presentation going to come about?
Well, it's going to start at 9 o'clock this morning. I'll be speaking at noon at lunch today at the Ramada in Lansing, and we will go until 5 o'clock this afternoon. As I said, I'll be speaking for about 45 minutes and talking about, all of my experiences for the last 50 plus years, and telling conservatives, how we got the mess we're in, and how we can get out. I'm very optimistic that we can save America, but we'll also have a panel discussion at 4 o'clock today.
Could you give us a very quick idea of what strategy to employ to get out of this mess that we're in, where we criticize each other and take it easy on the opposition?
Well, the one message I would bring to the Michigan conservatives here today is don't wait for leadership from Washington or any other place. The people who are listening to us right now are the leaders they've been waiting for. I think that it's incumbent upon each and every one of us to provide that leadership, and we can all do that. Maybe we can run for a local office, or we can raise money for somebody, or we can help in the campaign, or we can blog. And
one more quick question. Do you believe that we should employ, as conservatives, some type of a litmus test before we start giving and working and giving our energy toward a candidate?
Absolutely. One of the message I'm going to talk about today is I've got, I call it Vigorous Foolproof Test of whether you're conservative.
All right.
And it is absolutely foolproof. And the test is, tell me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are. I never saw Ronald Reagan in the late 60s and throughout the 70s. I saw him a lot. But every time I saw him, he was surrounded by major conservative figures, Ed Meese and a dozen others.
Yes.
And so when these conservatives come to us, or these politicians, and say, I'm a conservative, and I say, okay, who are your advisors? Who do you consult? Who's on your staff? And they can't name any conservatives. That's a big signal that personnel is policy.
Yes.
And if they haven't surrounded themselves with conservatives the last 5, 10, 15 years, when they go into office, they're not all of a sudden going to surround themselves with conservatives.
No.
I'm getting the hook here. I need to sign off.
All right. Yeah. Well,
hope to meet you one day.
See, Phil, this is great.
No, thank you.
This guy is great.
Yes.
And I hope to meet him someday pretty soon, because he seems to be right in line with my way of thinking.
Yes.
And I certainly wish I were able to be there to see what he has to say in person.
Well, I wish you were too. I'll give you a full report next week. Thank you guys so much. God bless you for the work that you guys do.
Well, we'll see you soon.
All right.
See you soon. Take care.
Take care. All right. You know what, Phil? It was. I want to just mention that because we're getting close. It was Charlie Rango had a earlier during the week. He had a
Charlie Rango.
Charlie Rango was one of the ones that it was in Ebony magazine. I think in the early '80s they called him the chief drug law enforcement officer, and he was the one that was the chief architect of all these drug laws.
Right.
And he is the reason why there's so many what they call blacks that's in jail right now, because he's the architect that crafted all these laws. But he said something, Derek, do you have number one ready for us? Yeah. Okay. He said something and that I want our listeners to hear, because liberals always it's not that they not liars. It's all propaganda all the time, 24/7, and they learned it from this guy that read that teleprompter. I mean that teleprompter is I'm telling you, we need to take that teleprompter. You can take the teleprompter, and he's still, it's even worse. But somebody is writing all those lies for him, and he continue repeating them over and over and over. And so, but he didn't have a teleprompter, and I want you to listen to what he said about you and me, about people in the Tea Party. Okay, you can go ahead, Derek.
Seems like the Tea Party Republicans have kind of made it hard for maybe you to advance your agenda, for the president to advance his agenda in Congress. I want to know what you think motivates them. Thank you.
You sure you're not from Saturday Night Live? All I can tell you is that they come from states that used to own slaves. They come from states that the Confederate Army was what they pledged allegiance to. They come from states that the Ku Klux Klan and voters' rights and all of those things came into play, and they left the Democratic Party, thank God. They joined the Republican Party, and they liked being among themselves. I have never seen any president.
They come from states,
Yeah.
that own slaves. They come from states that the Ku Klux Klan and so on and so forth. Now he admitted that, they were Democrats, but now they're Republicans.
Yeah.
He can talk about slavery, but they cannot mention anything about it. This is from Vanguard, Nigeria. Remember those girls that the president, the first lady, they held up those signs saying that give us our girls.
Yeah.
Well, we never heard anything else about that right there, and we found out that those girls today. That there's a report saying many of them are pregnant, diseased right now, and Boko Haram has these girls still. There was 50 of them that escaped, and so they talk about slavery, but this is the real slavery that's going on today. And the president can manipulate and say that feel and laugh and say that we grumpy. Well, the world has a void, Phil.
Yes.
And it's America, and it's not Russia that need to fill that void with leadership. Again, go to our website, artofmichigan.com. You can listen to this show later on. Send us an email at art@whamradio.com. We'd like to hear your comments. You gotta join us at our 5th annual Holocaust tour. Join us. Go to our website and register today. We want you to join us at the Holocaust tour.
Demand credibility from your leaders. Demand that they tell the truth and not tell you lies in order to keep you enslaved. The real enslavement. The Abolitionist Round Table invites the Wham Talk 1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan, 48135.
Or follow Phil and Del at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.
Everybody.